Thank you so much for joining us, Robert. You inspire us every day for the results that we get to help. And I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to share a little bit about that. So why don't you start with how you heard of the Angela Keller Mortgage Team?
I actually saw one of your episodes on I think it was a YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. Maybe was it someone like yourself that we had helped previously?
No, actually, I had dealt with another mortgage broker earlier in my years. My last mortgage was actually with RBC, and
Mhm.
it was time to renew. I did reach out to the previous, and they didn't get back to me.
Yeah.
When someone's looking for a mortgage, time is of the essence.
I would certainly agree with that. And so that inspired you to call us. You kind of saw something and you thought, I'm gonna give them a call. And what was your experience like from when you reached out to us to today?
The experience was great. I worked with Dave and John and Julie as a team. It was uh, it was great, especially the communication. I was never kind of in a lurch as to kind of what was happening, what they needed from me, what the time frames were that we had to deal with. And I have to admit that, I did approach them very late in the game. I should have, ideally, I would have been in touch with them months and months before the renewal, but, again, I had been dealing with RBC, getting passed around a few places. Again, the communications were sporadic and all over the place, and I wasn't left with a real sense of stability in regards to my conversations with them. But in regards to the team that I dealt with here, it was great. I knew what was happening, knew what needed to be done. It ended up going a few days, later, so I had to drag a couple days at RBC's worst rate, but in the end, everything got put through, so it worked out.
Excellent, excellent. So, how did it compare to previous times getting a mortgage elsewhere in terms of, like, if you had to summarize, say, like the top three things in terms of communication, expertise, and ease of process?
I would say the communication was probably the most important thing because even if you have ease of process or anything else there, if you don't understand it, et cetera, then that doesn't even come into play. So yeah, it was really that communication. Julie following up on me, Rob, we got to get this, got to get this, got to get this. John following up, Dave walking me through, the highs and lows, the ins and outs of, what's going on. So I didn't have those questions, and I had a lot of questions. We all know that this is a really rough economic time. Every couple of weeks, the Bank of Canada is changing their rates and so on and so forth. What's that doing? What are some of the strategies I could put into play? Because I wanted a fixed, but at the same time, I wanted a low penalty out, in case things get really, really good 6 months or a year from now.
And you
Um,
hit on a really major point of the biggest difference that people have when they deal with an institution themselves versus an independent mortgage broker is we were able to look at the landscape without bias and say, here is a product and a lender that aligns with our current economic times and your goals to be able to take advantage of the market because neither you or I are in control of what does happen in the future, regardless of anybody's predictions.
exactly, exactly. So I just, as much as I could. I just needed to retain some amount of control, as much as you can with a fixed mortgage. But yeah, Dave did a great job. We sat down for probably an hour and a half, which is probably a little bit longer than he's used to, but it was a great conversation. It really set me at ease, kind of knowing what my path forward was.
I feel people deserve that when it comes to finances. Over the last 20 years, I feel everybody's in this like automated world and go, go, go. But your mortgage, if it's not managed properly, will be a financial detriment to you. So investing the time in really understanding your options is really going to contribute to building and protecting your wealth moving forward. So we're equally as grateful for those that meet us at the table so we can have these discussions to further align your goals and help you reach, your ultimate mortgage freedom. So we appreciate that, Robert. And what we appreciate as well, too, is that you have a background in finance. So you really understand how important it is to align yourself with the right financial goals and products and lenders. And if any of those are not in alignment, it really impacts the bottom line.
This is so true, CMA, CPA, and to have that comfort in the numbers and the knowledge behind the numbers. So many times I find a place where they just tell you something, and being an inquisitive kind of financial guy, it's like, well, what about? Give me more, why is the number there? How is it there? And again, that's what really set me at ease with Dave and the team.
Excellent, Robert. Well, what advice would you have to others tuning into the show, tuning into the segment, seeing us online?
The obvious advice would be, give Angela and her team a try. But, as I personally felt, communication is the number one thing, no matter who you're dealing with. Um, the communication, and through the communication, you will learn about their expertise and what they have and what they can provide you. Try not to let them simply tell you stuff. Don't be afraid to speak up, say, I don't get it. What about scenario A, scenario B, scenario C? Um, and unfortunately, I found a lot of places out there, they kind of fall down at that because they're trying to rush you through a process. So it's that aspect which I really am grateful for.
Well, we are grateful for you, and it's been a pleasure to help you. And myself and my entire team, thank you. And what you'll notice, Robert, now that we have the privilege of working together with your mortgage, is that we do understand what economic circumstances will impact your mortgage rate. Not only that, but we also understand the economic circumstances that can happen personally in our own personal lives. And so, because of the mortgage lender that you've selected, we'll be able to modify and benefit and pivot should we need to. And I think you've seen already from the communication that we're going to continue to be here for you to help you, guide you with some clarity on those decisions, not only when we initially started our conversation, but you're going to notice a significant difference now as we proceed through the years of you having a mortgage. So you can continue to have that confidence moving forward.
I really, really look forward to that proactive after management,
Yeah.
where maybe in a year I'll get a call from Dave saying, you know what, the rates have gone down to the point where even if you pay the penalty, you're still going to come out ahead. Do you want to do this? At which point I'll be like, thank you, sir. Let's make this
Exactly.
happen.
And I pulled a report of we're working through the reports every day and reaching out and saying, hey, let's look at this. Let's invest the time together. Let's work the numbers. And so we're so grateful. And I can't wait for you to continually share your experience as we go through this together.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Robert. Have the best day. I'm really grateful for your time. We're always here
You're
to help
welcome.
you and those you care most about.
Same to you. Have a good one.
Thank you. You
Bye bye.
too. Bye now.